Oh, hello. I had another comment where someone needed help with a specific color change or shift, and I'm happy to do it for one person. You know why?
Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it.
And that's the truth. It really is. Now, this poor dude is struggling with this particular move, and he's asking me where to put the fingers precisely and how exactly he should hold it and things. There's no way of describing that because each person's hands are completely different. That doesn't mean you won't be able to do every move that there is out there with sufficient practice. All it means is if I put my pinky there, you might feel more comfortable with your pinky there. It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the move and what's happening, you just have to get your hands to do it until it looks good. And the best way to practice is like what I do: use the camera, film it, and you'll see the mistakes you're making. Doing it in a mirror is very passe, old school. You know, how are you supposed to practice in a mirror? It must have been very difficult back then. But anyway, so I know exactly what happened. This guy saw this color change and it blew his mind and it completely fooled him. And that's why he wanted to learn it. Now, that's fine. You can learn things that fool you, but you shouldn't learn things just because they fool you. It might not suit your personality, it might not suit your style, whatever. But I'm saying just because it fooled you doesn't mean you have to learn it. Find out how it's done, sure. I know you'll never be able to satisfy that curiosity, but just because it fools you doesn't mean that you should learn it. Secondly, this color change is not practical at all. I don't find it practical in the least. There are so many problems with it. It takes so long to learn. And in the end of the day, a shapeshifter color change, a simple Erdnase color change still ends up looking better. And trust me, I would be hard pressed to find a magician who uses the clip shift in a professional gig. I would be hard pressed. I really would. Because it's simply not practical. And you can only do it for like one person and you can't do it surrounded and, no. Shapeshifter, Erdnase color change, these are the moves I'm using in my professional gigs. As the saying goes, the amateur performs for the same audience and has to learn new tricks every time. The professional performs for different audiences with the same tricks every time. Like Al Goshman said, and if you don't know who Al Goshman is, go and do a little research, go and watch a few of his videos. He's amazing. He comes from back in the day with Charlie Miller and Di Vernon and all of the boys. That's the generation he came from. But he was very true. He said, professionals do the same tricks for new audiences all the time. And as a consequence, they become good. They become smooth. They know how to get out of trouble. But an amateur performs new tricks for the same audiences over and over again and don't really perfect the ones I know. You don't need to know 20 color changes. You don't need to know 19 ways to do a double lift. And in the end of the day, if you think about it, if you're showing a layman a color change, they don't know the difference between a clip shift, an Erdnase change, a Cardini color change. They don't know the difference. To them, it's the same thing. So why make it more difficult than it needs to be? Why choose such a difficult color change that's not practical, that'll take you long? Just perfect the good, simple, workable ones, the practical ones. Don't let the guys on the internet fool you into believing that because it's difficult, it's good. That's not true. Vernon all the time used to say, simplify your magic.
You're very, very young. And you're very, very stupid.
And it's very true. That doesn't mean you should butcher a trick and weaken the effect just because there's something in it that's difficult. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you can achieve the same effect with a simpler method, do the simpler method. But if it makes the effect weaker, then it's not a better method. It can be simple without being weaker. And that's all I'm saying. So 80% of the moves I've learned over the last 20 years, I don't even use. I just learn them because I enjoy it. It's fun for me to practice moves that are difficult. I mean, it took me 3 years to start nailing a second deal. I never used that professionally at a gig, but I don't care because I just like to be able to do it. And if you're learning the move for that reason, then go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is if you're learning for the reason of showing people and actually trying to make a bit of money with it, I say do the practical stuff. I say do the workhorses. You got to remember in the beginning when card magic first started out, in order to be called a professional, the pass, the palm, the top change, and a control. And you would be considered a professional card magician. Think about it. 4 moves. They were the 4 workhorses of card magic back in Hofson's day, back in the 1800s. The pass, the palm, the change, and a card control. And that's it. That's all. And they did all of the effects in card magic with those 4 moves. Think about it. And I'm not saying these new awesome techniques and moves and gimmicks and tricks and things aren't amazing and fun to learn. All I'm saying is I'd rather do 6 moves very, very well than 50 moves okay. And that is all I'm saying.
Well, I have a microphone and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Anyway, let me stop lecturing you and show you what the color change looks like. Here we go. Alright, so the first thing you're going to struggle with when you do this move is getting this card off the bottom, over the deck. Never mind the rest of the move. The first thing you're going to battle with is getting the card to clear the pack. Okay? Now, most guys say you should bend the deck inwards like this. Sort of bend the deck in. And it does help using your fingers to sort of bend the deck in to get the card up to clear the deck. It does help to bend the deck like that. Okay? But what I found helps more than that is get rid of half the pack. That way, it's a lot easier for the card to clear the pack and for you to practice the completion of the move. That's the first tip. Practice with only half a pack and remember the bending thing. When you practice, you're going to bend the pack a lot. Next thing you're going to struggle with, thing number 2 to battle with, is the noise that this thing makes. When you pull it off the bottom, does that. Schwabba! And that's not good because obviously then, schwabba, something's happening. It's obvious. And the way also to mask that massive sounding noise is to bend the pack again. So bending the pack serves 2 purposes. It serves to help it clear and it serves to help it make it quiet. So it's going to clear the pack and then with practice, you'll get the silence that you need in order to have the move be effective. But putting it this way, you'll never perform in complete silence anyway. And if you do, this is the wrong move, believe me. The next thing you're going to battle with, thing number 3 to battle with, is once you've learned how to do all of that, fair enough, you're going to battle to align the cards without flashing. Either this card's going to come out or this card's not going to be lined up. I wish I knew what to say to you, but the only way to change it is to practice it. There's no shortcuts around that. It's just a practice thing, doing it over and over and over and over and over. And this is a trick that's going to take you months, not weeks, months. And it's not really a trick, it's a color change, and you still have to put it into a trick, blah, 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 blah. And fuck all these sons of bitches that have an 8-minute long intro of them walking in black and white and slow motion with doves flying over them while they do cardistry and flick cards off their foot and bouncing cards on their head. I'm not going to do any of that. It's horse shit. I'm not here to make myself look good. I'm here to teach you the real stuff, the stuff you're going to use. Please keep all that. Show me one cardistry show. What can you learn? And I'm not shitting on the cardists. Please don't get me wrong. I might have an entire community of cardists going, there he is. Get him. That's not what I'm saying. Cardistry is beautiful and amazing. But I would be hard pressed to find how you would make money from it other than to teach it. Because let's face it, and everyone I've asked, you can guaranteed everyone that I've asked says it gets a bit boring after 2 minutes. So how the hell are you? You see, this is something you should learn for fun. So yeah, learn the difficult moves, have fun with it and stuff, but keep it in mind. Do you want to perform for people or do you want to perform for yourself? And that's a decision you got to make.